and welcome back to your yoga mat. I'm Julie Farmer with Harmony Yoga. If you're new to this YouTube channel, I have been teaching yoga classes since this pandemic started, and I'm just curious to know how you're doing. I know we can ride that roller coaster of some days are a little better than others, and some days the uncertainty maybe is a little bit too much to bear. So together we come on our yoga mat where we can unite our mind and our body and our spirit, and not to unite in clutter and in disconnection, but actually to come together, uniting the mind with the body. You know, they're so interconnected. And so when we start to create a little bit of peace in the mind, it does translate into a little more peace in the body. And that can be a two-way street. Creating some peace in the body may create some peace in the mind. And so wherever you begin, whether you begin by creating the peace in the mind or the body, join me today on our mat where we're going to go into this meditation together. I would like you to sit up nice and tall, whether you're sitting on a blanket or a blanket and a block. Notice how high up you can sit when you combine the block and the blanket. So feel free to pause the video to go grab a blanket or a block if you don't have one. And if you don't have a block, you can actually use a couple books just to help lift you up. It just brings the floor up to you so you don't have to strain to reach the floor. So we're trying to create ease in the body, not dis-ease or discomfort, and those props can help us create that. So starting out now with your mind, just noticing the clutter in your mind, maybe noticing the mind racing, or maybe today you're having a little more peaceful day. Either way, just notice what's going on. Noticing the condition of one can affect the other, and that is why we turn to meditation as such a powerful tool for healing the body. So when our minds are cluttered with thoughts, information, plans, our bodies respond by trying to take action. But when the body has a clear directive from the mind, it knows what to do. But a cluttered, unfocused mind creates a confused and tense body. Our muscles tighten, our breath shortens, and we find ourselves feeling constricted without necessarily knowing why. So join me by sitting up nice and tall, and then close the eyes, begin to turn the attention inward, turning the attention to the breath. So feel yourself in space. That's called proprioception. So you know you're sitting upright, you're feeling the floor beneath you. You have this sense of yourself. The example that I hear easily said is that when we feed ourselves, we know where to put the fork. It goes in our mouth and not in our eye or something like that. So that's proprioception. But what we start to work on as we meditate and work in the body through our yoga poses is this mindfulness of interoception, being able to feel the body from the inside out. That's how you know when you're hungry or when you're tired or when you might feel a little bit agitated. The more in touch we are to the interoception, we can start to answer to the body or to the mind in a meaningful, responsive way. So closing the eyes now, we begin to feel the body from the inside out. Sitting in this way allows our bodies to know it's okay to be still and rest. We start to create that connection. When we sit, the body automatically knows it's time to relax and rest. This is a clear directive from the mind, and the body knows exactly how to respond. Feel the body's response. We create this sense of clarity for the body and the mind. And as we move deeper, the state of our mind reveals itself. We have the opportunity to consciously decide to settle the mind or to follow the anxious thoughts. Allow yourself some space here so that you don't really need to push against the boundary, because the boundary is expanded. So the mind feels a little free. We create this open space. The thoughts settle peacefully if we provide enough space, and then our bodies follow suit. So with that intention in mind, continue to follow the breath. This is a perfect opportunity to put in a mantra or a prayer, whatever settles your heart. The I am is a beautiful way to use the breath. So the I am on an inhale, and then make sure it's something very positive and powerful on the exhale. I am peaceful. I am present. I am divinely made. I am loving. I am loved. Following your own breath now and your own intention, mantra, prayer, or affirmation, feel yourself settle into the space a little more. Start to feel yourself getting hemmed in, or the mind starts to be a little anxious, just create that space with the breath, allowing the mind to be what the mind is going to be. Its job is to think. We're just trying to create a little more space so it doesn't feel so cluttered or so anxious. Feel the body begin to respond as the mind relaxes. Likewise, if you feel some tension in the body, just move that tension out by making some movement in the body and then settle back down. Long side body, rotate the shoulders back and down. Stay here a few more breaths. And then when you're ready, go ahead and come to a standing position, and we'll warm up here together. Feet are parallel and hip width apart. Bend the knees slightly. Lift and separate the toes and move the inner thighs back. Scoop the base of the tailbone and create that long side body. Rotate the shoulders back. Let the palms face forward. As if there's an imaginary wall behind you, press your throat back, the knuckles on your hands, your inner thighs, your shoulder blades. And then inhale, bring your arms up on the breath. And exhale, bring your hands back down. Do that again. Inhale, lift the arms up on the inhale. And then exhale, lean the left arm over to the right and the right hand down your right leg. See, just notice where you are in space. If you're starting to fold forward, just encourage the opening of the heart. Good, and then release the left hand down. Pause here for a cycle of breath. Just notice the difference between your right and left side. Can you see it on me? My left shoulder feels a little bit higher, maybe not so exaggerated, but that's how it feels inside the body. So let's do this again. Inhale, lifting the arms up to the sky. And then as we exhale, the left hand comes down the left leg, the right arm reaches up and over. Staying here for a breath, attempt to open the heart. On the next inhale, lift up, reach the right arm all the way down. And now notice if you've got a matching set. Inhale again, both arms up. Let's do the other one. Just one round of breath each. So we're exhaling and then inhaling up and exhaling over to the other side. Good, and inhale up. Reach that hand down. Bring your hands to the top of your thighs. Draw your spine forward, moving your hips back and your shoulders back. And then round. Go the opposite way. So now we're scooping through the tailbone, drawing the shoulders forward, stretching through the upper back. We'll go back and forth here a few times. Inhaling, and exhaling. Good, and then inhale, come to standing. Reach the arms up on the inhale and twist over to the right. Bring the arms down, shoulder height. Inhale up to the top, and then create the space here by holding the breath and then rotating all the way over to the left, bringing the arms back down. Good, arms back up on the inhale. Pause with the breath. Let's do one more time each side. So notice this is just a gentle spinal twist. We're not over-efforting here. We're just gently starting to warm up the spines. We'll go over to the other side, bring the hands down. Good, come up to center. And then exhale, bring the hands sweeping in front of you, bending the knees, and we'll do one more here, bending the knees, and then reaching up toward the sky. This time, fold forward. I'm going to go to the side here so you can see, and I'm going to come toward the front of my mat, using a block for your first forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up, and exhale, release down. Do that one more time. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Now we're going to inhale the right leg back to deep lunge and drop the back knee down. Move the inner thighs out to the left. Scoop the base of the tailbone down and reach both arms up, or you can keep the left hand on the left knee if that helps you feel more supported. We're stretching now through the right knee all the way up to the right fingertips. Can you feel that nice long stretch? And then take the right hand to the left knee, left hand open behind you. Again, a gentle twist here. Moving the right lung over. If that's too much on the head, I'm always preaching about the head. I've had neck tension before, and it doesn't help to try to overstretch the neck. Good, reach the hands down. Step back to downward facing dog. Bend one leg and then the other here, like you're walking your legs out. Bending both knees, look up at your hands, spread the fingers wide, press down through the finger pads, hug the arms together, move the inner thighs back and reach the heart toward the floor. Lift your heels, inhale, and release your heels, exhale. Reach the right leg up to the sky and swing it through, dropping your back knee down, or do that in reverse order. Drop the back knee down, reach around, grab that right foot, bring it up between your hands, move your hips out to the right, scoop the tailbone down and rise. Inhale, both arms up to the sky, or keep your right hand on your right knee. Now we're stretching that whole left side. Using the breath here to keep you present. Even counting breaths can help keep your mind focused right here on your mat. Good. Reach the left hand down to the right leg. Right hand opens up behind you. Challenge yourself to let go of the tension in the neck by moving your head around, and notice that twist because we're moving that left lung over to the right. That's where the twist is coming from. Good. Reach that hand down, step forward, forward fold. So this is where you're going to want to make sure you've got a block handy. If you don't use it for your forward fold, you may need it in the next poses. So have it handy. Inhale, lift the head and heart forward. Bend your knees, move your hips back and reach the arms forward. Maybe even up and scoop the tailbone. Push down through your feet, lift all the way up. Bring the hands to the heart here. Close the eyes and feel. Feel the balance between your right and left foot. Notice how grounded your feet are. Are you on the inner edge of your feet, the outer edge? See if you can balance that. And lifting up through the crown of the head. On your next inhale, get ready to raise your arms, raise the heart, and then exhale, come down, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up, and exhale, release down. This time we're going to step the left leg back and swivel the back heel down. Place your block on the highest setting on the outside of your right foot, and then bend into that right knee. Let the knee open toward the elbow and move the thighs back. Scoop the tailbone, bring your left hand to your left hip and open that left left shoulder back. Reach the arm up to the sky or over the ear. So you're going to decide where the best placement is for that hand while we keep the chest, the collarbones broad. So again, if we start to fold over in order to reach, then just bring the hand back to the hip and open this way. Good, playing around with that. You can even play around with lowering the block. See if you can still stay with the heart open. So the heart remaining open gives the mind the message to remain open. Yes, the breath has more freedom to flow, right? Good. Now what we're going to do is take the block on the highest setting, still the right hand on the block. We're going to straighten the right leg. Lift and separate the toes and push down through the ball of the big toe to soften the knee, and then open the left arm up to the left, up to the sky. Same thing with the head. Can you notice I'm looking down to my foot and it doesn't change, it doesn't impact the pose itself. So relieve that tension in the neck. Good. Bring that hand down, move the block, step back to top of a push-up position. Dropping the knees if you want to lower the load, but still keep the shoulders ahead of the wrists. Or straighten the legs, bend the elbows, lower on down to the belly. And then flatten the toes, drag the hands back, lift the heart forward. Cobra pose. Stay here or reach your arms out to the side or straight ahead. Move my block out of the way here. Good. And then push back to child's pose. Now we're in a second cycle of sun salutation here. If you wanted to lengthen this practice, you could do several of these sun salutations. What I'm trying to do is give you a little bit of yoga every day or many times a week so that you keep coming back to your mat. And that's what's going to actually help the body understand where you're going. It'll help soften the mind and bring you into that connection with the self, the spiritual connection. So more often we do this. So that's why this practice is a little bit shorter today. So coming out of your child's pose, reach your arms forward, lift your hips up to down dog, and then reach the left leg up to the sky. Hug the arms together evenly, and bring that left foot up between the hands. Grab the block, place it to the outside of your left ankle. Swivel the right heel down, bending into the left knee. Right hand can be starting out on the right hip, moving the right shoulder back. Again, notice you can look over that shoulder or you can look down to your foot or anywhere in between. My torso is staying open by moving the left lung over to the right. Top hand can go stay on the hip or reach up or over. You're going to decide here. If you want to lower the block, see if you can do so while remaining open-hearted. And then we're going to move back to the top. Straightening the leg, lifting and separating the toes. Top arm reaches up toward the sky for triangle. Pushing evenly through both feet. Soft bend onto the left knee. Open the heart. Even lean back slightly. Look down at your front foot. Notice what you feel. Proprioception, where are you in space? And interoception, how does this make you feel? Good, reach that hand down, step forward, forward fold. And then we're gonna go down to the mat. So here's what you can try. If you're used to doing a deep squat, you can do that. If that's unfamiliar to you, you can place the block here. And notice, that's the same thing as a deep squat, but I'm able to let the load go onto the block. Right, so you can be here, you can lower, same thing, or move the block out of the way altogether. Good, now move on to your bottom. Straighten the right leg. Bring the sole of the left foot into the inseam of the right leg. Take your hand down the inside of your right leg, left arm up to the sky. Feel both hip bones rooting down toward the earth as you reach up toward the sky, being very mindful here. Use the breath as you start to come over just a little bit over to the right. If you follow the breath, the body may just genuinely open on its own, feeling safe and secure and at peace without force or effort here. Deep inhale. Exhale. And one more time. Inhale. Let's reach up to the sky. Take both legs out to the front. And you can sit your hips back on your blanket if sitting down doesn't feel so comfortable. So I'm just going to demonstrate for you so you can follow suit. Again, it's always better to use the prop if you need it. And even if by chance you don't need it, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just going to make you feel easier in the pose. It's going to feel better rather than overstretching and forcing yourself. Lift and separate the toes. Press the balls of the toes together. Press the heels into the earth and inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. So our legs are active and strong, and the arms are reaching to create that whole length right through the side body. And then start to push your butt back into the blanket or back toward the wall behind you and reach your hands forward. Inhale a little and exhale. Keep reaching forward, keep pushing your hips back. So you are moving in two directions here. Do that again. Inhale, lift slightly, and exhale, release down. Maybe you grab your feet, maybe your legs, maybe you keep your hands on your hips. Stay here one more round of breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and rise. Now we're going to take the left leg out to the left. I'm going to scoot my hips off my blanket, but maybe that feels better for you to be on the blanket. Take the inseam of the right foot into the sole of the right foot into the inseam of the left. Take the left hand down the inside of the left leg. Maybe you can even reach all the way down to your foot, but it doesn't really matter. You can stay right here on your knee or your calf. And the right arm reaches up. So I want you to inhale and send both hip bones down into the mat. And then as you start to exhale, maybe you start to lean over to the left a little bit, or you stay upright, whatever feels right for your body, right? No one's gonna judge you or even see you for that matter. So stay true to yourself. Listen to your body. With every breath, see if you can find a little more peace in the mind and in the body. And that breath is that segue between the mind and the body. On your next inhale, rise. So now face the front of your mat. Take your right knee out to the right edge of your mat and left foot back, curling the left toes under. This is a little different way to come into our pigeon posture here. And anytime we come into pigeon and that's not your favorite thing, remember you can always do a little hip stretch that looks like this. Pushing your hands into the earth behind you. Maybe even bringing this foot to the floor, right? So that's always your option. If pigeon feels right for you today, lift your hips, flare them out to the right, take your right hip back and your left hip forward. Walk yourself forward. Onto your elbows or stack your arms, let your forehead rest. If you need a little bit of a challenge, you can start to bring that foot forward, but just lift and separate the toes so your foot is parallel to the long end of your mat, and try to keep your hips level and facing forward. So many of you have heard me say this before, but if your hip is really not that open, your knee is going to take the brunt in this posture. So there's no need to push this pose. This is just an invitation. So find what's right for your body. Swing that back leg around to the outside of your left knee. Take the right hand onto the left knee, left hand behind you. Inhale, pull the low back in and up, and turn and look over the left. Right lung moves toward your left thigh. Notice if that twist takes your breath away, but breathe anyway. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, turn. And then inhale, we're gonna release, come back to center. Okay, left knee comes forward, right leg goes back. Or if you're gonna do the other hip stretch that I demonstrated earlier, then you're just gonna switch whatever leg was on top before, okay? So inhale, lift the hips, flare them out to the left, take the left hip back and the right hip forward, and then walk yourself forward. The back toes are curled under, keeping the back leg nice and strong. Provide stability and safety there. And you can notice if you flatten that foot, you get pretty passive, and that changes the whole shape, the integrity of this posture. So we want to curl the toes under, keep that leg active, and then resting into the pose. Again, if you need a little more challenge, wiggle that foot forward. Again, lift, flare the hips out to the left, left hip back, right hip forward, and come down. Checking in with the breath. If you're uncomfortable, chances are you probably held your breath. That means you need to back off the pose. But we're all going to come out of the pose now, crossing your right ankle over your left knee. Left hand comes to the right knee and right hand behind you. Inhale, we're pushing down with the hips and lifting up with the spine, and slowly moving the left lung over toward the right thigh. Staying here with the breath. Inhaling, getting tall, exhaling, turning. Slowly unwind. Now straighten your left leg. The right ankle is already crossed over. So we're going to join our friends who maybe didn't do pigeon with us. They did their own hip stretch. We're going to join them. So if you've already done it once, notice what happens the second time. Bring your hands behind you, lift and open the heart. Notice as you try to move the right knee toward the floor. If that's your match there, stay there. If you need a little more challenge, bring the sole of the foot to the floor, walk your hips forward, walk your hands forward. Move the hips down as you try to lift your chest, and for some reason that makes it really intense in that right hip. Okay, so it's just crazy the things that we can do to enhance a hip stretch. And we don't need to overdo it here. There's no reason to overstretch our hips. We want to keep the integrity and the strength in the hip. So just finding the relief there. Good. And then unwind, crossing the left ankle over the right knee, opening the right knee out or down to the floor. Maybe that's your posture right there. No shame in that, right? That's a nice hip stretch right there. No need to go further, but if you want to, bring the sole of the right foot to the floor, walk your hips forward, walk your hands forward, and then push the hips down, lift. I'm laughing because that's getting really deep into that left hip. So pushing the hips down and lifting the heart, whoo, feel that right down into that left hip. Staying with the breath here. Let's do one more breath and release. Okay, we're going to grab the block, lower onto our back, and come into a bridge position by pressing the elbows down, walking the shoulders together, lifting the hips, placing the block underneath us. So this is a supported bridge pose. Now, this is your practice. You know this. So you may go into bridge pose, or you can just remain with your hips on the block. So notice it's generally the same shape, right? The body's in generally the same shape, but here I'm letting go. Bridge pose with my hips lifted, lift the hips and push through the feet and scoop the tailbone toward the knees. Walk the shoulders underneath you a little more. Press your hands down if you're in that posture. Taking another breath. And then everybody lower your hips onto the block. Let your arms externally rotate, palms face up, and now we're just relaxing here. Keeping both feet on the floor, lifting one leg at a time or both legs together. Gives us that inverted position, like legs up the wall. Of course, you can do this at your wall. Lift through the heels. Pull your toes down towards your nose. Feel free to bring the feet down to the floor whenever you're ready. Remain on the block just a few breaths more. And then lift up the block. Place your hips down and straighten your legs. Moving the block out of the way, or you can always lay over the block for your Shavasana if you prefer. Press your elbows down, lift the chest, let the feet naturally flop open to the side. So that's your Shavasana position. If you would like to use the block, what you're going to do is take one block on the low setting, another block or pillow for the higher setting, and place the lower edge of the block right at the bottom tips of the shoulder blades. So the bottom meaning this way, and then lay over the block using the other block as a support for the head. And then you can do a little snow angel here, and then coming to rest where it feels comfortable. Knuckles down, palms up, releasing the tension in the legs, bringing the awareness back to the breath. Softening the jaw, remove the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Let the whole back side of the body get heavy. When we settle down to examine and experience our consciousness, we discover that there are no hard, definable edges. It is a vast open space in which our thoughts can come and go without making waves, as long as we let them, by neither attaching to them nor repressing them. As we see our thoughts come and go, we begin to breathe deeper and more easily, finding that our body is more open to breath as it relaxes along with the mind. In this way, the space we recognize through meditation, through relaxation, creates space in our bodies, allowing for a feeling of lightness and rightness with the world. When you're ready, start wiggling your toes and your fingers, moving your ankles and your wrists, making fists with your hands and then letting go, stretching your fingers out wide and moving those wrists around in a circular pattern, one way and then the other. And then slowly hug your knees into your chest, rolling onto your right side, Pausing there for a few breaths before pushing up sideways to a seated position. So what I just read you is from Madison Taylor from Daily Om, and I want to give the right credit there. May each of you be at peace. May each of our hearts remain open. May we each become aware of the light inside of our own being. May we each be healed. May we each be a source of healing for all beings. Bringing your hands together at the heart and bowing in gratitude for each other, for this day, for this practice, and for this medium to get this to you. Thank you for joining me today. Be well.